Hi, I'm mostly in the moment and I'm glad you're here with me. We're going to be looking at the twin flame weekly energies for the week of February 22nd to the 28th. We're going to be looking at the recent past energies from last week until now. We're going to be focusing on the current energies for the last week of February. And then we're going to look at the possible outcomes of these energies going into March. All right. So for the recent past energies, the recent past union energies, we have a new start, a new initiation in both the Divine Feminine's and Divine Masculine's lives separately for this union, for this new cycle in the twin flame journey. The Divine Feminine in the physical have been on the hunt for love, may have incorporated a lot of things in her physical reality to invite this love in, whether it be around your home, whether it be within you, starting something that makes you feel good, whether it's working out, eating healthy, hanging out with friends more, doing something for yourself to keep yourself in this place that attracts like attracts like. You want to attract in your divine counterpart, and doing things for yourself in the physical attracts that love. And that could also mean maybe going out a little bit more, making yourself available for random encounters with people that might help you in your career, that might help you with, maybe you're looking for a place to move to or to help you with your kids, whatever it is. The feminine has been keeping up in her physical reality. For the head space and the heart space in the recent past for the feminine, you've been keeping the mindset of being the divine feminine. It might be hard at times when little things come up that you have to deal with, but you've been keeping on top of those things. Because in your heart, you can feel like the masculine can pop out of nowhere. And just the same, the masculine could do something else dramatic in his life. He might just leave to go on a vacation, to clear his head, to see his family, to pop up in your life. The masculine seems a little bit unpredictable right now, and it's all good because it's for the union. It's for figuring out what he's making steps in his life for the union, as the feminine is making steps in her life for the union. And it might not seem like it, but this is the start. This is the start of the new cycle in the twin flame journey. So what's been happening with the divine masculine in the recent past is that he's been weighing out positively how to make this long-term offer. He's been kind of weighing out making changes in his physical for allowing in a next long-term goal. Because in his head and heart space in the recent past, he's been thinking about it a lot. And for the divine masculine, thinking of something long-term means thinking about it a lot in every way, in every possible path towards this long-term goal. And he's very happy about it. In his heart and in his head, he knows this is what's good for him, what's good for him in the long term, but he's been kind of struggling with it in terms of making any sort of commitment for the long term. This might be an issue he's had in the past where he wasn't sure how to come to terms with making such a long-term commitment. Maybe he's never made a long-term commitment in his life. Maybe the longest commitment he's made has been, a few years to, 5-6 years. And this commitment seems to be longer than that. And that makes him think about it, more, and it makes him think about it a lot more, and it makes him think about every little detail about it, or every little path or option in going about this. It might have discouraged him a little bit to know that this might be a long-term commitment, because that might not have been his initial hope or wish. But the more he thinks about it, he realizes that this is something that's good for him in the long run, and it carries over to the current energies, where this kind of thinking is now bringing him to the end of all the possible outcomes that how this can manifest for the divine feminine. He's bringing this kind of thinking to a close. He's thought about every which way this could come, the outcome could happen, and now he's balancing out and thinking about it in a more positive way, coming out of being, nervous or unsure or, a little scared about a long-term goal. Yep, and he too is making steps towards this union. He's making steps in becoming the person he wants to be in a relationship, the person he wants to be in the world, the person he wants to be for others in all sorts of relationship, in his twin flame relationship, in his community, in the work that he does, and in the service he provides publicly. So what's going on currently, this is a little exciting. We have the feminine letting destiny unfold. The feminine is letting God take the wheel and steer her in the direction that's for her highest good and her highest timeline. She's taking care of herself. She's accepting and going along with the changes that are happening in her life because she knows it's for her best interest. These changes might come up either there might be positive changes, or there might be changes that are like slightly off-putting, but she knows it's it's to get rid of it or because it's not for her. So it's easier to make these decisions in her physical life that she knows is for her highest interest. So it's easier to know what's good for you and what's not good for you. And it might not be very obvious how this is fitting into the big picture, but you know it is. And you can feel it, that the decisions you're making now, the things you're doing for yourself, is ultimately for your highest good. Because in your head, you know, okay, you might have this big opportunity coming towards you. You might have had this opportunity already come in or is coming in, and you're keeping your strength and your wits about it. You're seeing through all this nonsense that's not good for you. You're seeing through it really easily now. And even though you might not see this big opportunity yet, it might have come into your life in a way that you might not be able to completely see it clearly yet. You are keeping in your personal power. You're keeping in this knowing that things are going your way. Things are going your way, and they're starting to show. You just might not be able to see how they all fit together yet. But it's happening in a lot of parts of your life. In like many parts of your life, these little changes are happening, and you're not really sure maybe how they fit together yet, but you know this is something big. This is something big that's happening in your life. Yeah, because you're in it for the long run. Your heart knows this is for something long term, and you're excited, and you know it's going in a positive direction. And that's really exciting, Divine Feminines. That's really nice. You might be initiating some of these positive changes. That's a beautiful energy to be in right now. And we have something similar going on for the Divine Masculine. We have the Divine Masculine who was struggling with how to share this kind of love or this kind of perspective on life with the Divine Feminine and with others, is now in a more sharing mood. He's more in the mindset and the heart space to share and talk about how he views life, how he might have been going through this awakening. He might already be woke, but more willing to share these ideas with the people around him and his family, his the people that live around him, and towards the feminine, being able to open up about the ascension processes, or just, you know, the awakening process, the different spiritual things that come up in his day-to-day life. He's more willing to talk about it and to share with others and to look them up and research them and be more comfortable about it. And that makes him more comfortable about sharing these ideas with the Divine Feminine. Yeah, because he's coming into a place where he is being attracted to the feminine and kind of making outwardly, physically, in his environment, he's also coming to terms of, not only is he making long-term decisions, but he wants to make these long-term decisions with the divine feminine. We have a lot of wands here. And we have the Nine of Wands, but then it's connected by the Knight of Wands, where he's physically sending out a message to the divine feminine to share these ideas, to talk about some of these things that he's been going through, that he's been thinking about, and all these long-term plans he wants to include the divine feminine in on. For the clarifiers, we have the Queen of Cups and the King of Cups. He's thinking about the divine feminine when it comes to these woke ideas. And physically, he's embodying these emotions in a balanced way and wants to balance it out with the feminine, wants to share and take the feminine's ideas and thoughts into consideration for these long-term plans. Wow. Now, where these energies are leading up to. Oh, wow. Okay, so for the union energies currently, we have the divine feminines and the divine masculines blind to each other's thoughts. The divine counterparts might not be able to see what's going on in their counterparts' thought process, but they are basically thinking and doing the same thing in their own way. Because for the clarifiers, we have the Chariot and the Magician making huge strides towards this union. They're both coming into this beautiful space. They're both manifesting this. Their hearts are in the same place. They're thinking about similar things. And they're manifesting this very positively and coming into better union, but they can't see what the other one is up to. That's funny. Even though they can't see what the other one's up to, because they're focusing on their own list of things to do. So the feminine is, seeing things coming into her life, little opportunities, and going with it and figuring out what's good for her, what's not good for her, and just having an easier time figuring these things out. And is doing things for herself that's positive, that makes her more attractive to the divine masculine, who is now getting out of the space of fear of long-term commitment, then being okay with it and seeing how it's great for the long term, and then being excited about it to see where this adventure kind of lies, and being more open about talking about these spiritual concepts and to people in his environment, which makes him more open to and comfortable talking about these things with the divine feminine, and wants to see her point of view. So even though these things are different, what's going on for the divine feminine and divine masculine, they're both doing what they need to do in order to come into union, and what they're doing is manifesting this union beautifully, smoothly, and positively. I think even the feminine not focusing on the masculine too much is helping her out, because all these other things are happening in her life, and the masculine keeping the feminine in mind when all these other things are going on is helping him come towards this union. Crazy how that works, right? Now what's coming up towards the end of February into March is I am ceased to be amazed with these readings. They're just so beautiful. The twin flame journey is just so magical and beautiful. We have the feminine here moving forward in making positive long-term plans and sharing, working as a team, collaborating in such a joyous way. And it's a really joyful and happy way that these long-term plans are being made, and they're, as soon as like you make the plans, it's like, oh, you're already on your way. You're already stepping towards that goal, towards that path. And it's because of this shared energy. The sharing of energy. A very positive sharing of energy. Now that's what might be happening physically for the divine feminines. But what's going on behind the scenes is a lot of thinking. A lot of thinking, a lot of excitement, a lot of thinking to overcome things, something minor. Okay, so if you guys do start making concrete plans together and sharing these ideas, it might be very positive and hopeful, and as soon as like you guys talk about making these plans, you start doing them, the divine feminine might be a little upset that it wasn't so romantic a love focused, or as romantic a love focused as she's been dreaming, or like the fairy tale kind of way. Whatever the divine masculine comes through with, it might be something that's exciting at first, but then realizing, oh, there's a way to go. There's a way to go to develop this. Maybe you start as being friendly towards each other, talking about the physical stuff, like, where you're living, what can you actually afford to do at the moment. Maybe you need some time out to think about something you didn't like that you heard from the masculine, and it makes you think all day, it makes you think all night. So, that's smart feminines for you to take some time out to think about what you want to do with that situation, how you're going to handle it. Maybe it's something you need to handle on your own before you, dump negativity on this, because where it's going, union-wise, is everything. This is everything. This is beautiful. All these little things that are coming into your life that you knew were good for you, and you were pushing out the things that weren't good for you, they all make sense now. It's completely fulfilling. And don't be upset that it doesn't go exactly as you wished, or exactly how you hoped, because in the long term, it is going to be better than you wished or you hoped. It might feel like a fairy tale at times, in and out of this journey, because the masculine is very excited to start this new journey with the feminine. He'll see you as this beautiful. He'll see you still as beautiful as he remembered, even stronger than he remembered. And then he'll also, maybe things didn't make sense to him the last time you guys spent significant time together, talking, sharing ideas. But now he's going to tip off his hat to the feminine, because he understands all this spiritual stuff that he wasn't really understanding back then. In his heart, he's excited. He feels this new journey. He's been feeling it, and he's excited to start it. He's trying to say something lovingly to the feminine. He's trying to make this romantic gesture. And he's doing it by saying all these things to the feminine. He's sharing all these ideas about this new cycle, this new start of his new life. He's showing his love for the feminine by sharing all these wonderful, beautiful ideas that he's been dying to tell the feminine. He's been so excited to say it. He's been wanting someone to talk to about this kind of stuff and make moves with this kind of stuff. The feminine is here is making moves and collaborating and sharing, and he's here excited to do that with the feminine. This might be something with a soul mission, a business, something outside of a relationship that he's excited to start with the feminine, or continue with the feminine, or just share ideas with the feminine. So feminines, don't take it the wrong way if he comes through and talks about something else besides relationships or love, because he is showing his love and talking to you about his view on life. That's his way of sharing and planning his long-term goals. It might be something about his career, and something about his, physical goals. Maybe he's, his workout plan, or the way he's eating, or the way he's saving money now, the way he's saving up for a car or a house, or where he wants to move, what kind of things he wants to do as a hobby. Sharing those ideas with the feminine, that's him trying to tell the feminine, this is how I see our life going. This is the stuff I want to do. What do you want to do? How can we match it up? How can we move forward with these things? How can we kind of combine forces without saying those actual words, Because in his physical space, that's him offering his cup of love. We have the Ace of Cups here and the Four of Wands, the Twin Flame card. In his physical energies, at the end of February going into March, he's offering his cup of love, and the feminine feels that in making plans with him, but might not be the fairy tale version. No, nothing to fear though, because those fairy tale moments are going to be coming in and out as this journey progresses, because you're going to feel very fulfilled. You're going to feel very excited. You're going to feel like, and the masculine is going to feel like, yeah, this is where this is going in the future. This is really long term. Maybe the most concrete long-term plans you've ever made. So the divine masculine, it feels like he is offering this cup of love to his divine feminine, but in the back of his head, he's stressing. He's stressing about the union here. He's hoping it goes well. He's hoping it appeases the divine feminine. He hopes that it comes off the right way. He may feel like he's not doing enough to show this physically, even though he's trying his best to show this physically to the divine feminine. He's nervous about it. He's beating himself up about it, he wants this to go right, and he's not sure if it is going right. So divine feminines give him a little break, He might be a little rusty, but this is his way of showing his love to the divine feminine. In the outcome, we have the divine feminine really thinking about what's going on, really super happy. So whatever little mistake that the divine masculine makes that might come off weird, or something about his karmic situation, whether it's work, his past, where he was spending his time, how he was spending his time, whether it's something, with an addiction, working too hard, working too much to not even leave time or space for the feminine, karmic situation with the past relationship, his friend situation, the people he's been hanging out with, his family situation, telling him things that aren't good for him, whatever has been going on with the masculine, that he comes and tells you in maybe a harsh way, or a very blunt way, or may not come off as lovingly, but he meant it lovingly. He wanted to tell you for your good, for the union's highest good, but it, you know, he might have stumbled on the way it came across. But in the overall picture here, we have such beautiful energies. Overall, it's really well received. Overall, it's really positive and loving, and a lot of sharing of love, a lot of sharing of plans, and then moving forward. The feminine's feeling super positive. She knows this is the right move. This is the direction she wants to go. It's so obvious to the divine feminine, but you might want to take some time to think about things. You know, things are coming together. Things are fitting in to the big picture. It's becoming more obvious to divine feminine. So you might need a second to see how all these things fit in, because you're making moves. You're making moves together. You're sharing these ideas about the long-term life that you're going to share. It might be starting off with an outside of relationship project, but you know where that's going. And because the masculine's outcome here is he sees the divine feminine in the long term with the 10 of Cups as, you know, the clarifier, as in a very beautiful energy. Like, this is where he wants to go. He wants to create a home with the feminine, a family with the feminine. You know, when I say home, I mean sharing of the hearts. You know, wherever you move to, wherever you live, you know, it'll be home because you guys are sharing energy. Positive, beautiful, nurturing, loving, long-lasting energy. I can't think of a better way to go into March. Things have been happening behind the scenes in February. I've always felt there's more beautiful energies coming in mid-February into mid-March, and then again in May for some reason. But there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes. The divine feminine and divine masculines have been working beautifully. The divine feminine by not thinking about the masculine so much and figuring out all these other things. The masculine thinking about the feminine more while all these things are happening. And, you know, this is the end game.